Reckless Impulse, create a treasure, and then we can play those cards next turn. And yeah, and they just concede to that value. Hello YouTube, welcome to Fine Day, and today we are going to have a look at Prosper Tome-Bound in Historic Brawl. This deck aims to win by exiling a bunch of cards from the deck, playing them, and then getting the payoff in the commander Prosper Tome-Bound. So, Prosper is a 4-mana 1/4 creature with Death Touch, and it has two parts, basically. The first one is at the beginning of your end step, exile the top of the library until the end of the next turn. You can or may play that card, and it's play, not cast, so you can actually play lands off of that. The second part of the ability, or his abilities, is whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. So something like a Rob the Archives, where you exile the top two and you may play those cards this turn. You exile your cards and then you play them from exile, and that works pretty nicely. But you have also some really nice keywords that interact with it. For example, Foretell, where you exile the card for 2 mana from your hand, and then you're able to cast it for cheaper in the future. Dual Strike does work with that. So that is the basic idea of the deck. The way we finish off the game is, frankly, you know, we can just grind the opponent out, but like the quick way to kill the opponent is creating a bunch of treasure tokens, because we are going to cast a bunch of cards from exile, and then we have cards like Marionette Master and Mayhem Devil, and you know, there are a bunch of other payoffs. But those kinds of cards are really strong with Prosper, because Marionette Master is effectively a 4/6, because with Fabricate you put 3 counters on it, basically always. And then when you sacrifice a treasure, the opponent is going to lose 4 life every time you do that, and that adds up rather quickly. So because of the nature of the deck, our curve is pretty low, and like how it wants to play out its turns, because we are going to exile a bunch of cards, and we can usually play them only this and then the next turn. So we have to use our cards basically, like we can't just let our cards sit around, because they're going to waste otherwise. So the deck plays a ton of cheap cards, and as you can see, basically all the cards are 1, 2, or 3 mana, and that is so if we cast something like a Reckless Impulse that exiles the top 2, and if we cast that on 5 mana, we're basically always guaranteed to be able to cast something off of that, in like the way this deck is constructed, right? If you get a 1-drop and a 3-drop, you cast a 1-drop, you get a treasure, and then you cast a 3-drop. And I think this is very important, otherwise you're just not able to make use of your exile effects, because if you're like on turn turn 4, you cast Prosper, and then you exile the top, and you can only play till the next end of turn, and then you exile a Marionette Master. Well, too bad, you just don't have the mana naturally at that point in the game, so you really want to keep your curve low, right? The other part here is that the way our interaction shapes up is, you know, like, for example, if this deck was blue, we wouldn't run counterspells, well, right? But this isn't blue, so we can't anyways, but just as an example, counterspell is a very reactive card, requiring something to happen in order to actually do something, in that case, playing a card and then you can counter it. Our interaction here is something like Mind Spike, Thoughtseize, right? Like the cheap hand hate that we can just throw out and interact with the opponent. And that is the basic gist of the deck. So we have a bunch of cards that we just want to throw out, like Terrarion, Chromatic Sphere. Those are just perfectly fine, because like something like a Chromatic Sphere costs 1 mana, gives us a treasure back, and then we can just basically sacrifice it for free and draw a card, so to just store our card advantage forever, basically. Then we have just cards that exile other cards. We have some finishers, and then we have a ton of like value engines, something like Bray's Apprentice, continuously exiling cards. Birgi, God of Storytelling, is especially amazing because the front and the back side are relevant in this deck. Phyrexian Arena providing constant card advantage, right? Fable of the Mirror Breaker giving additional value. Like, we have some really cheap value engines, and then a few cards to actually finish the game with. And that is Prosper, Tome-Bound, and Historic Brawl. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay. If you do, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And let's go. We are ready to play against Tasha, Unholy Archmage. Dimir control. This is a very interesting hand. I think it's also keepable, but we kind of want hand hate. Like, this hand is perfectly playable, right? So we can like turn 1 Skirk Prospector, store mana that way, right? We can like turn 2 Magmatic Channeler, turn 3 play the tapped Spikefield Hazard, and foretell a dual strike, just set up very nicely. The question is that something that we want in the matchup? And against Dimir control, we are looking to stick a value engine, which none of these are, right? Oh, this is kind of good for filtering cards, but like, it's a creature, so it's easily removable. And interaction that interacts with the hand, and so we don't have any of those cards. So while this is a playable hand, I think we're going to mulligan this. I honestly like this kind of hand here, because we just get to play Terrarion. We just, like, this is more draw power than the other hand, just straight up. They play Mana Rock, I suppose that's fine. Ooh, perfect. We can play our own Mana Rock. Beautiful. And then the Dispute will hit the Terrarion, and then that will be sacrificed for value, which is pretty neat. So I guess we just foretell you, pass turn, and then we get to Deadly Dispute in their end step. Extract the Truth. Creature, enchantment, or planeswalker card. So if we hadn't foretold the Crush the Week, I would just use the effect on Falmire Knight right now, so that we wouldn't have creatures, planeswalkers, or enchantments in hand. But the way it is now, we're going to let this resolve, and then we're going to Deadly Dispute, so they're basically forced to take the Falmire Knight in case we draw something else. And we are going to draw 3 cards here, right? Yep. Pretty good. And I think we want to crack this Fable Passage to fuel our graveyard for cards like Kroxa. I think we can just drop the Prosper, and then we use the... No, like, I'm not sure if we're supposed to use the Crush. I think we'll use the Crush the Week here, just to turn it into a treasure, because the 2 damage is not going to be too relevant in this matchup, right? And now, if the commander dies, we can replay the commander and something like a Reckless Impulse to go with it, right? And that would be pretty amazing. Ulchar's discarding Professor Onyx, that is fine. Let's see. Opponent is thinking about doing something, certainly. What do you counter Blast on? Sure. And this is exactly the reason why we have... Like, this card is going to go away, right, for basically nothing. And I think we want to just drop Prosper, Reckless Impulse, create a treasure, and then we can play those cards next turn. And yeah, and they just concede to that value. And that is why it's so important to be able to play the cards you exile. Good game. We are ready to play against Jada, Font of Hope. And we go first. Yeah, perfect. So we are looking to remove their commander early in the game. And this hand actually does exactly that. That's removal, right? The Anger's Rampage. Excuse me. And yeah, I very much like it. So we keep this. We're going to start on a Mind Spike. If we were on the draw, not sure if this would have been fast enough, potentially. Boon of Safety, that doesn't really matter. And it's very interesting. Oh, that's an S Sentinel. So that, I guess, was a reason to play the Mox Amber on turn 1. So the card we actually want to take here, I assume, is Resplendent Angel. So we can actually turn into that card with Valky. Yep. So we can just trade the Valky here and then aggress Rampage to Giada. Or we Mox Amber, let them draw a card of the Esper Sentinel and play the Prosper. We play Prosper. We generate treasures to use the activated ability of Resplendent Angel to challenge them in the air. Very interesting. And then they're going to... Yeah, I think we just trade this. And then we can Rampage, sack a creature. Yep. And now, while they are able to play the Resplendent Angel, they're still a bit far off of actually activating it. So I hope that we get cheap removal of the Prosper and of this Tectonic Giant. Okay, and let's start generating value with our commander. Okay, that's kind of not it. Let's see what the opponent is going to do here. Just Jada hitting the field. It's fine. Ooh, beautiful. So we can just Tectonic Giant and Murder Cider here. And I think we want to remove the Jada. Just keep that off the board so it doesn't grow their team. And I think it's worth it to... Like, this gives us 2 more mana next turn because it's cost 1 less and it's going to create a treasure, but this can actually swing in and generate value. And I think that's pretty important to get enough removal. Exile top 2 and then choose one of them and we can play that card. Pretty good. We want to remove the Resplendent Angel optimally before they can activate it. Because the card is actually pretty scary. They can just double spell here. Ooh, that's a 4/4 Angel coming down. That's pretty good, honestly. Okay. We are kind of in trouble. Let's attack you with both, because we're not going to block anyways. Exile the top 2. Oh yeah, we like a professional face breaker. And if they block Prosper, the 4/4 Angel actually dies, and that's pretty relevant. Let's see. They just block the Giant. We have a line where if we get a board wipe that deals 3 to everything off the top, and we have like 2 more looks for that. It's going to be pretty nasty. So, Facebreaker. Start exiling. Start exiling again, I assume. Look at their top 3 and hope for removal for the Resplendent Angel. Oh, we can... Yeah, we can just kill that actually, the Resplendent Angel now. We can also kill this angel, but I think just the Resplendent Angel is going to be more scary. Beautiful. Yeah, and that was a pretty good turn. Fabled Passage, and it might look like we don't have any cards right now, like we're basically empty, but remember, playing the Fabled Passage will give us another treasure. We can exile 2 more cards off the top with that. If we get a playable card, we get another treasure, exile the top again. So something like a Professional Facebreaker goes a long way in keeping the gas coming, basically. Okay, they swing in for 5, and honestly, like, it is very scary what's happening here, right? Like, make no mistake, we are kind of dying right now. Okay, that gets rid of the Professional Facebreaker, and now we're kind of on empty here, and that is pretty problematic. Oh wow, yeah, Croxa is a very solid card. This is a -3, correct? Yeah. So we can just swing it with the Murderous Rider to gain life, but we can still do that later, I believe. So we swing in here. And we can actually flashback the Croxa, correct? Yes, correct. Okay. And we can discard their whole hand by doing that. Get a Black Source. Oh wow. That is fine. They're going to draw a card off of us searching, but we're going to discard their hand anyways. So Croxa. Yes. And you might notice that the sound is like bugging out really hard, but like that's just a bug that's in the game right now. Can't do anything about that. And we're really hoping for removal for this angel here. I mean, Experimental Synthesizer is basically just a reroll, right? So they swing in, we go down to 3.
Win the day, my angel.
Yep. Okay. Oh, that's removal. Beautiful. Let's start by casting an Experimental Synthesizer. Beautiful. Land. Chandra, and I think we are supposed to crack this Experimental Synthesizer as well. Yep, that's a Skirk Prospector, storing more mana. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Kill the 4/4 Angel. And swing with everything at Sarah the Benevolent. So they hopefully don't make another angel. Yep, they just let their Sarah die. We go to 5 life. And again, we're kind of on empty here. We want a just an engine, and they are going to, oh god, they are going to attack the Chandra with their Jada to kill it. Otherwise, that would mean a lot of trouble for them. And let's go to our turn. Ah, that's just a land. It's very problematic, actually. Do we attack with you? We have to attack with the Murderous Rider. And they are going to block this with the Valkyrie to kill it, so I assume we can just attack with the Samurai as well. Then jump with the Skirk Prospector. Yep, just swinging. guns blazing, basically. And if they just... yeah, they trade the Archivist for the Samurai, that is fine. Okay. And instant speed removal off the top? No such luck. Yeah, if like getting like the Valky would have allowed. I'm still not sure if we were supposed to just play the Valky. Well, okay, that just saves them. That's so unfortunate. Them getting the removal here, saving them. But yeah, like there was a world where we were supposed to like just not play the front side of Valky. Okay, Black Market Connection is absolutely useless here. Draw a card. Soul Shatter doesn't do it. I believe we are dead. Ah, that is such a close game. Yeah. GG. Wow, a very, very close game. Amazing. We are ready to play against SRAM, Senior Edificer. And against SRAM we want early and cheap interaction. And I think we got that with the Lightning Bolt. So we start on the Goldhound and then we intend to play turn 2 Professional Facebreaker. Maybe not actually. Seed of Life's Bounty, sure. Maybe we are supposed to just play a Duress here. I do like the all-in play here though. So swing for 1 and just play a Facebreaker. Okay. And then if they play SRAM here, which I assume they don't. No, they don't, because they want to like protect it with the L-Seed. It's fine. So we swing in, they're not blocking here. Get a treasure. And this is basically the high upside play I was talking about earlier. We don't want to sacrifice the Facebreaker actually, no thank you game. Yeah, and now we just play Prosper. And now we're going to start the value drain. So they're going to play a SRAM with protection. No, just a minimus containment. And now this is actually treasure, which is quite funny. And we can sacrifice it to the Professional Facebreaker. Or to itself, really. So that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we can just replay for Prosper here. I think I quite like that. Treasure. So we sacrifice this, goes back to command zone. No, I would really like to not use this Phyrexian Tower. No, thank you, game. And we just redeploy the Prosper, generating more value here. So SRAM comes down as expected, and I assume they are going to Curse of Silence, sure, on Prosper, and then remove Prosper. Prosper Tome-Bound, sure. Will you remove Prosper? Ugh. Okay. So let's start by duressing. Yep, that's an ongoing version and 3 lands, and we're going to hold priority. Kill SRAM. Wait, no, we're going to kill the L-Seed, because that's actually what we want to kill, right? So kill L-Seed. We're going to protect SRAM in response. And we are going to Electrostatic Blast. Perfect. Yep. And the reason why we want to do it this way is so the Electrostatic Blast actually hits its target as opposed to the Lightning Bolt, and we get the Electrostatic Blast effect. Okay. End the turn. And that's quite a bit of value we got here. I'm considering that just cycling the Falmai Knight, and I mean it costs a bunch of mana. Honestly, no, that's not even worth it because we can just use these treasures with a Professional Facebreaker. Ooh, so they have a Cave of the Frost Dragon to block something, but that doesn't even make sense here. I think we want to attack it with the Professional Facebreaker. Okay, that connects. Treasure token, nice. So yeah, I think we just continue grinding value for now. We have enough plays that we don't need to spend our mana on a Professional Facebreaker. But maybe, I think it's correct to use this once here because we haven't made our land drop, and if we exile a land, we can just play that. Yeah, that's literally perfect. And that was basically just free card advantage at this point. Valakut Exploration. And they're using the gate to the Citadel to gain additional value here. Nice, nice. Okay, opponent plays a Reckoner Bankbuster. We're just going to Infernal Grasp in response onto the SRAM until end of turn. We can't cast any of them, so that goes to waste. I think it's fine. And I think can spend the mana to draw a card with the Falmai Knight here. Yeah, and that is a beautiful, beautiful Kroxa, being able to strip away their hand. And we can use this as a ritual effectively, because we cast Falmai Knight. And I think we want to yeah, let's swing in first. Okay, we swing in, they don't block. Okay, now we create a treasure. I think we always want to just float this mana because we're going to use it for the Valakut Exploration. Now Valakut Exploration and activate Professional Facebreaker once. Maybe get a land off the top. Yes, that is in fact a land. Yes, do this. And now sacrifice you with all this floating mana. Kroxa. You have to discard a card. Beautiful. Also, let's Professional Facebreaker once again. I think we can afford to. Once again, I think we can afford to. We're doing all of this pretty backwards here, but I think it's fine. Don't think we want to Anger of the Gods here in this case. Yeah, I think we're just fine. Kroxa, flash that back. Doesn't really matter. Like, we're not utilizing our graveyard really past the Kroxa, I believe. The top of my head. And then Magmatic Channeler. And quite a nice board we got going here. And yeah, we got a Reckless Impulse in exile, so basically we have a full hand. Overwhelming Splendor, wow. So all of our creatures are 1/1s with no abilities. But actually we can just try to burn them out here. Oh, we can also just can't activate abilities that aren't mana or loyalty abilities. Sure. Wow, are we going to lose it to an Overwhelming Splendor? If they don't have life gain, they're going to die in a couple of turns here. To the... Okay, regular Bankbuster happens. They have 2 blockers here with the Cave and the Ornithopter, going to 4. Now they also have 2 blockers here with the SRAM. They can't gain life. Oh, that's so good. Let's play land first. Oh no, that this is also... Oh, yeah, we can actually activate loyalty, which is beautiful. And I think we're just supposed to go face with that, honestly. Face, burn you out. Swing in. And you are going to won this turn. So you better better do something about it, opponent. Okay. Phyrexian Arena happens. Oh no, we weren't supposed to play the arena, I believe. Because by playing that from exile, they go to... like, they can't kill the Chandra here, right? They use the Mag Hanger, make the regular Bankbuster vehicle attack with Shram and Chandra. Or just with the cave, right? But that... Yeah, it was a toss-up, right? This represented 1 damage, which is, like, the 1 damage really matters here in this case. But also this is going to double up our draws. Yeah, and they just don't have an out. GG. We are ready to play against Jaxus, the Troublemaker. And hopefully we fix the sound issue. I mean, during the game, it will go to shit anyways, as... yeah, it's just inevitable. Against Jaxus, we have double removal. Is that just good enough? Maybe that's just good enough. With ramp, specifically. Like, we don't need to, like, look at their hand too much anyways, because they're probably just having a bunch of redundant cards. Oh yeah, perfect. Third land, that's exactly what we needed. And we're probably just going to lead on the Tectonic Giant here to just apply a bunch of pressure. Maybe... no, the thing is, 4 toughness is a ton. Like, 4 toughness is an absolute ton for red to deal with. So, maybe it's points. If we get to cast that, I'm going to be very happy. And I am going to be very happy indeed. Okay. Zorn, and then that just goes naturally with an Infernal Grasp. Ooh. Naturally with a Mindstone. Sure. I think we value the ramp more. Well, to be honest, we still have the Mindstone up, and we're not going to attack so they don't draw a card of the Somnium Simulacrum. Yeah, that is just beautiful. Beautiful. If they blitz in Jaxus to create a copy, in response to them creating a copy, I think we just yeah, that's an kill on-site target. Ogre Battle Driver giving everything ace and +2/+0 is absurd. Then swinging with the Simulacrum, we don't block. So let's play this from exile. Let's start by doing that. I think that's reasonable. And I think we just want to play to the board with a Tectonic Giant and a Brace Apprentice. And then I mean, we're kind of exposed right now because we don't have a removal up. But that's absolutely fine. There's nothing we could have done about that anyways. Let's start by attacking with these two. I think the duress is not... like, we're really scared of their big creatures, not of their, like, non-creatures. They're going to... double block? That's fine. Okay. Draw card. Mountain Treasure Map. Fulminate, draw a card. Cast Fulminate. And hold out instant speed interaction. Although I assume they won't have anything higher than 7 mana anyways. So I think we maybe just want to fire off the Soul Shatter. Then if they like target the Meteor Golem, we're just going to Soul Shatter. So they copy Meteor Golem and we're just going to Soul Shatter in response. Yep. And that is pretty brutal here. Azul's Fury is sacrificing and dealing 3 damage to Prosper. Very interesting. Prosper doesn't die from that. Okay. And I think we... Yeah, they just concede at this point. GG. We are done with the games. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did, and Prosper Tome-Bound is definitely a very solid commander, and I think an absolute great addition to the historic Brawl card pool. So, if you want to play this deck on a budget, what do you need? And if we look at the rares and mythics, well, first and foremost, there are a bunch of like really essential cards to the deck that are common and uncommon, so that is pretty good. And regarding the mana base, I think you're still going to get a bunch of value out of like your dual color lands in this deck. Specifically, like you don't need them as much because you're like a 2-color deck and the mana base is pretty budget friendly. But let's say you have a Lightning Bolt in hand, and then you exile something off the top and you have 0 mana left, and then you hit the land, and then that land is a black land, so you have to spend a treasure. But if it's like one of the dual color land or like a red land, then you can actually use that Lightning Bolt. So sometimes there are cases where you really want the dual color sources, but for the most part it is a 2-color deck, so you can be a bit greedy with the mana base. The cards that I would recommend you craft first for this deck are your win conditions and some amount of engines. You don't need all of them, and then some amount of board wipes. But there are plenty of 3-mana board wipes that just give like -2/-2, and I think those are fine substitutes for like Sweltering Suns and Anger of the Gods. So maybe that's not as necessary, but like the big win condition here is Marinette Master, and that is also just really great in Jan Jansen, a very essential card to that deck. So Marinette Master is definitely a really important card for the deck. And then you have a bunch of value engines, and like really you can pick and choose. Like I can just drag them here, and there are even a bunch of them that I haven't included in the deck. There's a 3-mana enchantment from not War of the Spark, one of the Ravnica expansions. It's black and red 3-mana. Can't remember the name, but it's very similar to Bank Job, and that continuously exiles from your top. So yeah, that is also a card that I haven't included just because there were so many options for value engines in this deck, right? So like these are like your value engines that can generate your card advantage. Well, maybe Magmatic Channeler is in there as well, but that's more of card selection thing really. But like you want some number of these or similar cards that just when they're in play give you more and more value. And really, you like most of the time, even one of those is going to carry your whole card draw. Like you saw, like if you have a professional Facebreaker, you're going to spend all your mana every turn, even if we just start out with lands in your hand, right? And there are like Chandra Heart of the Defiance is similar to that. Like honestly, this Chandra is just amazing in this deck. And like if you craft one of these, I think like Black Market Actions, Phyrexian Arena, Birgi, God of Storytelling. Like, craft the kind of cards that you would also use in other decks, and like Chandler Torch of Defiance, right? And craft the cards that you think you're going to use in a lot more decks than just Prosper, and I think those on average are going to be the ones you are going to use the most. Apart from that, again, like your win conditions, like Croxa is also just an amazing win condition for the deck. It's also just a good card to have. And yeah, you just want like interaction. So like, you know, some amount of board wipes. You don't have to use those. Those are like the most efficient ones. I think the board wipes that are the best are the ones that don't remove Prosper. Extinction Event is also a very popular board wipe at 4 mana. That can, if you choose Odd, like just doesn't exile Prosper. So I think that's a very, very great choice. I just went with Yahenni's Expertise, but I think it's just maybe it's just worse than Extinction Event. I went with Yahenni's Expertise, and I felt like I didn't need more board wipes. That being said, like I think these staples here, like basically all the 1-drops, those are the ones you're also looking to craft, and then, you know, fill out the rest with your collection, have fun with the deck. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.